Right. Well, and some of those things that you're saying is some of the requirements for crafting a strategy.
Right.
You have to understand why you're even doing it.
Right, exactly.
Not just throwing it up.
Which I just was telling you about. Why are we on? Why are we on Pinterest?
Right.
Well, we're on there because the audience is 75% female.
Sure.
Mothers.
Right.
So I'm not gonna go put it on like Deviant Art and put my picture books on there because Deviant Art's not gonna.
Those are other artists.
Right.
That's
exactly.
mostly other artists.
Right.
Now, if you're gonna do the Pinterest, then you also want to create the boards. So the strategy, there's an end goal and then a process, and the strategy works to fulfill all those things.
Right.
And a strategy would be to create those mood boards for the lessons that children can learn from reading your books.
Right.
And so then those are the things that mothers are looking for, or they may find one picture that fits a description of what they're looking for, and next thing you know, they click on that picture, and they follow the crumbs to get to the big mood boards about that have to do with the lessons kids learn about in your books
or the mission behind the books.
Yeah,
right.
But you don't. You want to get to the feeling and the emotion right away.
Yeah, right. Well, the mission being like encouraging outdoor creative play. That's one of the missions for our picture books.
But how do you do that?
That's the mission. Well, right. By showing the books.
No. So okay. So creating outdoor play. What do you say? What are you saying?
Our butterpupandfriends.com is our picture book series, and the overall mission of the entire series, if they go on Instagram or Pinterest and they see all these covers and stuff, the overall series is about this little girl that plays with her imaginary, well, not really imaginary, fantasy friends out behind her grandmother's house. Because this day and age, everybody's indoors all the time. So our mission is trying to encourage kids to be outside and play, like we used to do back in the 80s.
So go outside and play,
and that's the mission of the overall message. And each book's going to have little subtle lessons, and that's what you're talking about,
right?
But the overall mission should be the same through our marketing campaign
to get them out the house,
right?
And so then there has to be an emotional feeling attached to that,
right?
Not just that you should get out and play, but there should be something you're engaging in,
you should show it,
and learning from, and having an emotion that then encourages the getting outside. That is only going to happen outside,
right?
Oh, exactly. That you have to craft.
They engage their own imagination instead of being told what to see. They're engaging their own imaginations.
Right. And so then there's a big emotion about it. So by going outside, you have an experience that you don't have inside.
Right.
And so then you have to identify that experience.
And a lot of kids are missing out on that.
Right. Well, you have to identify what kind of experiences those are.
Magical.
Well, you can have magic inside the house.
I'm just throwing you curveballs.
Right. Well, you have to. You have to have something that's tangible that people can immediately see.
Right.
Just getting a kid out of the house is not it. It has to be get him out the house because something happens outside that doesn't happen inside. Let's say football.
Football, right?
You play football. So people like football. Kids like football. You get to run around. Number one, you get to run around 100 yards in either direction, right?
Right.
Well, then that doesn't happen inside the house, in the room.
Right.
So then that when you make that the focus of running and in a contained space that is very large, now you have something that then has a feeling and emotion and thing that only happens in the outdoors.
Right.
And so that's where you want to start thinking about, well, what's the strategy for your message?
For marketing that message.
And then you market that message. And so then that, of course, teamwork is another thing, right? Because, and so you start adding these elements that then going outside is part of that process, but there should be like a big emotion that's dragging people there.
You use the emotional drag or emotional pull.
That's right.
To pull them to that mission and make those products sell or at least accessible.
Right.
And not to change the subject real
fast.
Go
ahead.
But
you did have a question earlier, too.
Yeah, I did. And I do want to ask you, because I know you have some expertise in this area. What is your feeling? Because I'm sure some of our audience might have questions along these lines about paying for digital ads for marketing, because that's an aspect of marketing. If you start making money with your business, you automatically have to start thinking, all right, I can keep doing grassroots marketing, which costs very little money, which might be very effective. But when you start pushing next level, you're going to have to come across ideas. Are you going to do print ads? Are you going to do digital ads? And from your experiences, what are your thoughts on like a Facebook ad, for example, something like that?
But I think you have to.
You have to.
If you want to find your audience.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So you think that they actually are worth the buck?
Well, of course,
Okay.
of course they are.
Okay.
And that's not just my experience. That's how it's designed.
Okay, sure.
You know, so Facebook is no longer a social thing.
I use them. I'm asking for our audience because
Right,
some of them
right.
might be on the fence. Like, should I spend $50 on a Facebook ad that runs in this part of the country or what have you?
And you should because the people who follow you or that you're connected to on Facebook may know you and do it and follow you on purpose, but there comes a point that you want to sell to more than just friends and family. And so instead of you, and of course you can do it organically, where you target some of your marketing and promotion stuff for free. Some of the content that you share that's the marketing and promotional stuff. You may do it in several Facebook groups that are interested in the same thing you're interested.
Right. I do that
At the end of the day, you want to find that you want to drill down to that exact customer that is going to buy your thing.
Right.
And so it's going to be hard for you to just find that customer when they're not even on the same Facebook group or they're not your friends.
Right.
They're not your followers.
And you figure that the digital ad. See, I'm becoming more partial to digital ads, even though print ads are more substantial. I feel like the reach of digital ads.
Well, print ads.
You can see where they go, right?
The thing with print ads is that when you say the newspaper. Where are you going to print an ad? In a magazine?
Like high fructose, for example. I've actually advertised in high fructose before.
Advertise what?
Like my artwork. My
and
website.
Do collectors read high fructose?
A lot of these sites are similar to my paintings. It's based in the West Coast, and I'm on the East Coast. So obviously they have a larger audience, usually on the West Coast.
But are they collectors reading high fructose?
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
You're sure they are, but you don't know.
But
that's not. Is that the audience for that magazine? Who reads that magazine?
My audience. But my point is this: the print ad. There's no really way to track to see if it's working the way you want it to.
Correct.
Whereas the digital ad, I feel, has more of that track record. You can say, okay, this is getting hits, this is getting traction, and you can adjust more accurately your marketing strategy.
So that's true. That's right.
Okay.
With a digital ad, and we're talking about the internet, Facebook, Google, AdWords, LinkedIn, Instagram and Twitter ads and sponsored ads, right? Yes, you can see you can see what the data says, who clicked on what and
so
why.
You can track your progress with those advertisements,
and you can see what's effective and what's not effective. And if it's not effective, you can adjust the message or change the picture, or realize that your audience is not on that platform.
Right.
The problem with print ads is that you don't know who's reading that magazine.
Right.
You say your audience, but who is your audience? What, a religious person, a person who appreciates art, a person who appreciates the style, a person who likes weird artwork. You know, you don't know what that means. There's so many different types of people who would read that, and so many different types of people who your audience is. And what you want is a collector.
Right.
A collector who purchases art on this type of theme.
You're talking about target marketing.
That's correct. Who spends this amount of money and is constantly on the market for new work. Right. So then that's who your target should be.
Right.
The audience could be anybody.
Right.
So just anybody who walks into the football stadium and watch the Falcons play is a football fan.
Right.
But there's different levels.
Right.
You got people like me who's thinking the food, because I'm not paying $10 for a drink, right? You know, so then there's different levels. And then you got the people who are in the cheap seats, people who are in their own little cubby clubhouse thing. They spending tons of money.
Yeah, they're getting catered.
Right. And so then that's the target audience.
Right.
So you don't want to just say, that's my audience. You want to say, this is my client.
So you're saying the print magazine is like the stadium. And
right.
The digital marketing, you can actually find.
You can then narrow it down to the client.
I follow you.
You narrow down to the client. We build an audience so that we can get them into the stadium, because everybody's going to buy a ticket.
Right.
But
to get that collector.
Then we build out a floor for just the collectors, the big money people.
And that's where you're marketing.
And that's who you target.
Right.